recent California road trip, we had Palm Springs as one of our bucket list must-do destinations. But would it work with teenagers?
The answer is yes, if you choose wisely what you do and where you stay, the latter of which we didn't do perfectly. It's going to be lovely. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. But right now, it's a building site. So we've arrived to the construction site that is the hotel. It's obviously getting renovated, which is great. But we can't touch our doors or even close them all the way because it's just been painted until 5 o'clock tonight. And we're in room 32. The number is here on the windowsill. The boys are next door in 31. Hopefully you can hear me still. So I'm going down to get the bags. Oh, that noise stopped. That's lovely. Oh, no, it hasn't. Lovely cacti by the pool. Pool looks nice. In here, Dexter is doing things. Hopefully not. So we were just told that we're getting some money off because of the extent of the works and the renovations, which is nice. We're not here anyway for the hotel. We didn't come for the hotel, and we prepaid anyway. We came for that. What's behind it? And everything else all around. I mean, our neighbors seemed really nice, but such a shame. Right, so this doesn't feel safe at all. We're going to try to cancel this and go somewhere else because, I mean, come on. Yeah, so we're leaving.
In my defence as the person who booked the hotel, it did look fantastic on paper, and they did say there were some renovations happening, but they were going to be over by December. That was clearly not the case. However, it will be a smashing little hotel once it's finished.
Welcome.
Hotel, take 2.
Welcome to the Hilton. Hilton Palm Springs.
In hindsight, I wish we'd booked this right from the very beginning. What I did like about our other hotel was that parking was free and we'd had breakfast included, which wasn't going to be the case here at the Hilton. However, we had so much more space, we felt so much more safe, and also we could walk to downtown, which was a real plus.
Unlike the pool at the other hotel, the pool at the Hilton Palm Springs is not full of painters and decorators and construction workers. It's absolutely fantastic and picturesque, what you'd expect in a Palm Springs hotel.
As it was a last-minute booking, we weren't able to have rooms next door to each other, so the boys were the upper floor and we were on the ground floor, or first floor as you call it in the US. A huge shout out to Lorena on reception, who, when hearing about our plight, gave us 4 vouchers for breakfast the next morning.
Because our room was on the ground floor, it had a patio that overlooked the most fantastic view of the mountains that surround Palm Springs. It really was fantastic, even in the evening hours.
By this point, the jet lag had caught up with us and we were exhausted because we'd been at Disneyland for the whole day and had been up really early for rope drop. If you haven't seen that video, we'll link it in the description below and you can see it in your upper right corner.
But we decided to get some sleep rather than film any more that night.
Oh, the wonder of an 8-hour sleep.
Good morning. That was so much better. So we're about to go to breakfast and spend our vouchers, our
$25 each.
Thanks, Lorena.
Which, it's a Hilton, so we probably won't get anything for $25,
Yeah.
but hey, let's see.
A piece of toast and some orange juice, it's still welcome. And the plan is to go up the aerial tramway.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we weren't able to get tickets online.
But we did call and they said that you can get them on the day, so we're hoping if we're at the first one, we'll
Yeah.
get up there and get back.
Yeah, they said it's not really necessary to book in advance. They said pretty much everybody that turns up will get up there. It's not a busy time of year for Palm Springs.
It's really quiet. Well, it gets busy from January, apparently. It doesn't feel busy at all.
So hopefully we'll be okay up there. The mountains already look beautiful, and the sun is just starting to come up now. We can see them from our terrace, so let's go to breakfast.
When we fly to the west coast, it takes us a really good few days to get used to waking up at what we consider a normal time for vacation. So we were the first ones and the only ones in the restaurant when we got there that morning.
I'm not going to lie, the menu items are quite pricey at the Terrace restaurant, as you probably will find in other Hiltons, but it is a fantastic space to eat in right by the pool, and the service was absolutely outstanding.
The food was really, really good here. Tony had chicken and waffles. I had some of the potatoes as well.
Don't forget the perfectly cooked poached eggs on top.
I had Californian eggs Benedict, and it also came with some fruit as well, which was much needed after 2 days of eating Disney food.
After breakfast, we went to our first destination in Palm Springs, the Palm Springs Aerial Tramway. Now, this was a big hit with the kids, although they weren't sure at first because we told them they had to bring their winter coats. It's a lot colder up the top of the mountains than it is down below in the desert.
The aerial tramway opened in 1963 and was a way of travelling from the bottom of the Coachella Valley up to the top of the San Jacinto Mountain. The rotating cars were added in the year 2000, and it's a 12.5-minute ride to the top. It's a long way, it's 8,500 feet, which is 2,500 metres above sea level, so a long way up, and it's very cold up there.
There's so much more to this place than just the cable cars, so we're going to cover it in more detail next week. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you know when it drops.
Just as you turn off to take the aerial tramway, you'll find Palm Springs Visitors Centre. It's a really cute building, and it's really worth a visit, even to just have a little look around at the architecture. The staff are amazing, full of knowledge and really friendly.
One of the reasons we stopped here was we wanted a map to take us around all of the mid-century modern architecture that's in Palm Springs. Now you can do this by downloading an app, which the guides there don't recommend. They actually recommend a paper physical map, which is what we actually bought. It was $5. We'll cover that tour later on in the video.
By now it was lunchtime, so we headed back to our hotel, parked the car and walked across the road to the Sherman's Bakery and Delicatessen. Now this is a Palm Springs must-do. It was opened in 1954 by Sherman Harris, and it has since been managed by his children following his passing in 2008.
Obviously those aren't his children in the pictures. I believe I saw David Schwimmer and Barry Manilow and all of the stars that have inhabited Palm Springs over the years. Frank Sinatra apparently was a regular here as well. We chose to sit outside rather than inside, and we had a look through the extensive menu. The food at Sherman's is famous not so much for its quality and its taste, which is fine, it's good, but the size of the sandwiches in particular. The sandwiches are obscenely sized.
To be honest, they were a bit too big. I actually didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I would. It's a lot of meat to have in a sandwich, but it was a terrific experience and I'm really glad we went.
To work off all that food, we decided to walk around Palm Springs itself and take in all of the sights. Now, Palm Springs kind of feels like a village. It doesn't feel like a city. It doesn't feel busy and built up, although there are busier times a year. And there's plenty of surprises around every corner, like this giant statue of Marilyn Monroe.
This statue, created by Seward Johnson, is called Forever Marilyn. It wasn't originally designed to be here in Palm Springs. It started life in Chicago, moved to New Jersey, then to Australia, Connecticut, before finding its home here in Palm Springs. There's really great attention to detail, as you'll see when you get close up to the statue. It's definitely worth a visit.
Behind the statue is the Palm Springs Art Museum, which is actually free to enter on Thursdays between 5 and 7 p.m. if you happen to be there at the time, which we are. We'll cover that later.
We We were also eager to try our very first Starbucks Reserve, although to be perfectly honest, we were a bit underwhelmed. More on that later in the vlog.
The center of Palm Springs has a lot of shops in it, from high-end to the middle, all the way down to the cheaper shops. As the sun started setting, we realized that the shops in Palm Springs tend to stay open a bit later than they do in other metropolitan areas we've been to.
The vibe is really retro and mid-century modern, which is fantastic for us. We live in a 1960s house, so it suits us, the decor in particular. And we did spend quite a bit of money when we were there. We bought some fantastic things, and so did the kids. It was Christmas, so we got lots of stocking fillers. We got this fantastic tissue box, and because we spent so much money, we spent over $100, we got a free clock, which you will see now. We love it.
Now, every Thursday night between 6 and 10 p.m., there is Village Fest in Palm Springs, which is when the streets are shut down and everything is opened up for a big outdoor market featuring local vendors, local artists, and local musicians. It's actually fantastic.
There's a real community feel. For example, this is the local high school band. They were terrific. Palm Springs seems really successful in mixing tourism and the local community. We didn't feel out of place at all. There was lots of local people around, lots of families, and tourists as well. The kids really love this. I don't think we've been anywhere like this in the US before, at least not in a major city. And this is right in the heart of downtown. It was super.
And it happens every week in Palm Springs on a Thursday night. Also on a Thursday night every week in Palm Springs, the Art Museum opens its doors for free to the public.
What makes this event even more fun, at least when we were there, is that they have a DJ playing. It really adds to the vibe of the place, and again, our teens really enjoyed it. And they're not massively into modern art, so it helped get the kids in.
That is bizarre. I don't know if this shows on camera how weird this is. The coolest thing I've ever seen. Right by the DJ stand there was drinks for sale as well as nibbles and things like that. It had a real party atmosphere. So cool. The museum covers 3 floors, but also down below there's a basement which leads to the sculpture gallery outside. This is like a garden full of modern sculpture and light exhibits and things like that. The art even extended outside of the museum into a ravine nearby. That's the one based on the San Andreas Fault.
Yeah, look, you can sit on the top.
You need to contemplate on your own faults.
Winter weather can be variable, and at the time California had had some very heavy rains. In fact, we'd had warnings about flash floods.
In fact, on the way over from Anaheim to Palm Springs, this alert came up on my watch and my phone at the same time. It was quite serious.
Because of the rainfall, there was quite a lot of snow on the mountains, which looked really picturesque. We were advised not to go to Joshua Tree National Park though, because of the rain and the risks of flooding. So we decided to use the map we'd picked up at the tourist centre the day before and do our tour of the houses of Palm Springs.
I wouldn't call this tour a fail for us. We really liked it. As Beth said, we live in a mid-century modern house. However, for the kids, it wasn't the best choice of things to do. For them, it was just like driving around looking at a bunch of people's houses, which essentially it was. So unless your teen is into architecture or into history, I wouldn't recommend it.
In fairness, we were going to hire bikes and do this, but again, the weather wasn't great, so we decided against that. They might have enjoyed that a little bit more.
They did find seeing Elvis's honeymoon house interesting, however, having seen the new Elvis Baz Luhrmann film on the plane.
Fortunately, some of the houses are quite difficult to get to. For example, we tried to find Bob Hope's house, but it's up a private road, so we thought we'd better give it a miss.
To make up for boring our kids to tears, we decided to take them for a date shake, which is a speciality in Palm Springs, and the best place to take them is Shields Date Farm.
Oh, the romance and the sex life of the date. That sounds amazing. However, we didn't humiliate our children by making them sit through a film about the romance and the sex life of the date, so we went inside and had a good look around the shop and enjoyed our date shakes. Established in 1924, this is like something from a bygone era. It was really, really good. We had a really great time.
As an American, I can remember as a child going for road trips with my family and stopping at roadside attractions like this. And though they sell lots of date-related things, because it's a working date farm, they also sell small toys and trinkets to keep kids occupied in the car, like Travel Bingo. Does anyone remember Travel Bingo, where you see like a police officer? Tell us in the comments down below if you remember that.
But we weren't there for Travel Bingo, we were there for date shakes. And these did not disappoint.
Now you can get date shakes in Palm Springs proper. This is quite a ways outside of the town. However, everything we'd read, everything we'd seen online said that Shields is the place to go. So we have no point of context here. All we were told was that they kind of taste like chocolate. Date shake? It does taste like chocolate.
It's nice.
I like it.
As it was only a couple of days away from Christmas, we did some shopping and then went for another Californian staple that you can't miss if you're in California, and that is In-N-Out Burger.
If you've never been to California yourself, you've heard people who are from California or even people who've just visited raving about In-N-Out Burger, and I personally was wondering what all the fuss was about. Well, it's really, really, really good. It's similar to Five Guys in the freshness of the burgers and the fries, but it's actually not very expensive at all. Really, really nice.
We made it back to the hotel later in the afternoon and the clouds were starting to lift and the sunset was looking pretty fabulous.
The next morning we were checking out, but before we did, we went outside and took advantage of the amazing, amazing views. This is Palm Springs as you'd imagine it, with crystal clear blue skies.
We'd read quite a bit about Starbucks Reserve and we were really looking forward to giving the one in Palm Springs a go. To be perfectly honest though, it really wasn't very different to any other Starbucks. And this was probably our least exciting food and drink experience of the entire trip.
Yeah, I'm not going to pretend that we're coffee connoisseurs or anything like that, but we know what we like. And the coffee here actually wasn't that good. They didn't have much of a selection beyond what a normal Starbucks would have. However, there was some nice souvenirs you can buy for Starbucks Reserve, and we really look forward to going to the original Starbucks in Seattle, which we'll be going to in April. Please look out for those vlogs in April and May.
But for now, it was time to say goodbye to Palm Springs. I'm really pleased how much the kids enjoyed it. Both boys said they would definitely go back, so that's a really great result and something that shows that it does work for teens.
Our route out of Palm Springs and into the San Diego area took us through Temecula. You'll see that trip in a couple of weeks, but first, we'll see you next week for our coverage of the Palm Springs Aerial Tramway. See you next time.